Hello everybody and welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Simulator news, updates, mods, add-ons. Now this is going to be sort of a little bit different. I'm going to be talking to you guys about a few new mods and things like that, but I'm also going to be addressing a few questions that keep coming up and I want to help you guys out. One of those questions is, how do I always, what tools do I use to make sure my mods are updated? Now I will tell you the most common thing that I do every morning at some point, whether the morning's slow, having my coffee, whatever it may be, is I come to FlightSim.2's website, and here you can typically see what either the new mods are or whatever mods are being currently advertised. But down under here in the second section, you can see recently updated. This is how I'm always checking what the updates are. FlightSim.2 is a really handy website. I recommend you guys bookmarking it. I keep everything really organized. So like my specific aircraft, for example, I create a folder for each one, like the DA62X project. It's right down here, as you can see here. It was recently updated, but there are certain aircraft that I check specifically, one by one, depending on, what their current status is and how often I fly them. Okay, so this is one tool. Now, the other cool thing is make sure that if you guys are using FlightSim.2's website, you create an account, because it's actually got some really cool stuff here. You can come down here to Mod Manager. Is it Mod Manager? You got to forgive me if I'm wrong here. Oh, Update Needed. So it tracks every mod that you download from their site as long as you have an account. And you can see these are all the ones that I have recently downloaded that now have an update. For example, I just downloaded this, I think, last week. Yeah, and it tells you a newer version is now available. So I downloaded it sometime between the 15th and the 20th. And we can even find out real quick, actually. I'll be able to tell you. What is this? The 208, right? The 208. Yeah, I installed on the 16th. So if you check here, you can see this is when I created that folder. Really handy way to do it. And that's why I try to keep as many of my mods as possible on FlightSim.2's website, because they really have done a fantastic job building this. And I think it's even got a mod manager tool. You have to forgive me for a second. I don't use it personally, and for no rhyme or reason. I'm one of those. I don't know. I always tend to keep things, difficult, I guess. I thought there was let me go back to Mod Manager. Maybe I'm thinking of a different site. But I thought there was a tool that would install it for you. I guess maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something different. If you guys know it, make sure you guys drop it in the comments below. It could be here. Again, I don't use it, but the features I do use is absolutely this Update Needed. I love this. It's very handy. I mean, here we can even see, according to this. Now, reason for this is because the most recent update that I didn't get it from this website. I got it from... Oh, this is the old one. Never mind. I know which one this one is. This is a different one. This isn't the Mix Mugs. So this was the second one that I had used. Anyway, I don't want to digress. So, yes, the information that's being shot out here, this is the mod I'm thinking of right here. I downloaded this previously from the GitHub instead of from here, so it still thinks that I have an older version. But like, for example, I can grab that right now, and we'll let that run for a second, let it download, and then we'll refresh the page, and that should no longer be on my list. You guys have to forgive me if I sound a little congested. I'm a little stuffed up today. Alright, so then if we go back to our updated mods list, and we can go Update Needed, it should no longer be there. And you can see. But all the other things that I have currently downloaded from there, oh, that's a nice one. That's a really cool livery, by the way, if you guys aren't using that. You can see are here. Now, I don't have a whole lot from here that need updating, but you can see my downloads. It stores everything that I've ever downloaded from their site. So if you're like, oh, where did I find that mod that I downloaded before? Again, make sure you create your account, and it's free, and they don't send you anything. I don't get emails. I don't get junk from them. It's just registration. So you don't have to worry about that if that's one of the things that you're hesitant to, which I am as well. It doesn't appear that they sell our email addresses, which is fantastic. I don't get trash mail. I don't get junk mail. I don't get notifications from them. Nothing. It just, I just log in and get my stuff. And so really they're doing me a favor. So that's the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, is how I manage my mods and how I keep the mods up to date, and how I find that information. Okay? So let's move on to the next thing I want to talk to you guys about today. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about today is the floating issue that I'm sure everyone is aware of by now. But if you're not aware of it, I'm going to briefly describe it. If you're finding that all of a sudden your planes are picking up off the runway after 10 feet, it just takes absolutely nothing to get them into the air. And then on the inverse side of that, if they float down the runway for miles and miles and miles and never seem to want to land, there's a bug that was introduced in World Update 3 where Asobo increased the flap coefficient by 2. So the flaps are generating twice the lift that they should. Okay, now what this gentleman here did, which was very awesome, or this person I should say, is created a pack for the fix, the HotFix. It's community flap HotFix. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a crazy day already. My brain's toast. So here it tells you the list of aircraft that are currently adjusted in this package. Now, be sure to read this because they also do specify that it's not compatible with mods right here. And that's because the mods have their own flight packages in them. So they'd have to be installed from the community directory, right? From the mod directory. Now, technically, there would be a way around that, but I'm not going to show you guys that because that could just get convoluted. But anyway, so yeah, if you have any of the default aircraft, you guys can download this package. Just copy it into your community folder, and all of these aircraft that are listed should be resolved with any of that issue. As far as making the tutorials or the mods work with this fix, this person even created a YouTube video. Okay, so walking you through everything step by step. So really handy. This link will be down in the description below. The next thing we're going to do is walk through ourselves if we want to do it manually. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to find our aircraft that we need to modify. I'm going to pull up 2 windows here. It's up to you guys how you want to do this. I don't want that. I want packages. And we're going to go to community. I don't think I even have a 172 in here. That's what we're going to be messing around with, the 72. Expand this a little bit. New. Come on. There we go. New folder. I'm going to do C172 1000 for the G1000. Pull it back up. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here to the official under my packages folder, and I'm going to find my Cessna 172. I don't recommend modding the actual the default files. Don't do that. Create a new one over here. So we're going to open this folder up. I'm going to come in here. And I don't think we need all of this. What we need is let's copy that. Then we go into Sim Objects, Airplanes, Asobo, and we can even get rid of all of this. All we're interested in is that flight model configuration. Remember, this is our copied. Don't delete the default. This is our copy over here. And I'm going to do the same thing with all that. And then now I'm just going to open up this guy. The flight model config. I'm going to do a control find. Oh, I had something highlighted. And we're going to do, what is it? Lift underscore coef flaps, if I remember correctly. Yep. And then you take this number. And so easiest way to do this is go 0.33790 divided by 2, enters. And we're just going to change this. Move it off screen over here so that it doesn't go away. To 16895. Control and S to save it, or file save, however you want to do it. Let me delete that guy. And close this. And then now, the next time we load the Cessna 172, the flight model should be correct. Basically, the flaps will function the way that they're supposed to. Okay? So again, you guys can see what the structure is. You need the layout, you need the manifest, you need the sim objects folder. But once you get in the sim objects folder, The only thing we're interested in is flight model config. And that's how you can edit your own. So if there's a specific aircraft that you're struggling with because of this most recent issue, this is a way that you can do so. All right? So now let's go ahead and move on. For channel news, the OverKill's TBM 930 guide for Microsoft Flight Simulator is on its way to completion with revision 1, or version 1, I should say. So, be on the lookout for that, guys. I will obviously make another announcement once it is complete. This is going to be just like my A320 guide. It is a full flight. We're going to be going from Salt Lake City over to Denver, Colorado. And everything you need to complete this flight will be in the guide. Everything from obviously the instructional of the aircraft itself, a cockpit tour, breaking down all of the instruments, buttons, etc. The G3000, which we'll get to in just a second, will have a full tutorial within it on how to customize the G3000 within the TBM 930, and then every step that the aircraft takes, whether it be turning the lights on to shutting the aircraft down in Denver after parking, will be in this guide. I walk through how to create your flight plan and sim brief for the TBM 930 because it's not quite as detailed as like the A320 or one of the larger airliners. You don't have to go quite as far into the detail with it. And then obviously manually importing your flight plan into Microsoft Flight Simulator if that's something that you choose, or entering the flight plan in manually. I also discuss a couple of bugs, and then at the very bottom of this guide there will be a customization section for things like how to install the custom liveries and things like that if you guys are interested in it, or the cockpit liveries. Now you can see table of contents will be done, don't worry, but even here I walk you through on how to install the mods that I use, where I get them, etc., to make sure that you guys have all of the tools and updates necessary to fly the TBM exactly as you see here in the guide. You can order this guide once it's available via donating $10 or more to PayPal. However, at this point, we now have, and this is where I'm going to get into the guides, the TBM 930 is sort of a 2-for-1. It's going to be a G3000 guide as it goes through the full details of how to use the G3000 with what's currently available and functional, as well as flying the TBM 930 itself. So it's sort of a 2-for-1. So you get two guides there, basically. And then there's the G1000 guide on my Patreon site, as well as the A320 guide on my Patreon site. I highly recommend you guys just join the Patreon. You don't have to stay. I believe once you sign up for it, it's $10 or more for tier 2 or more. You get access to the documents, and you can download all 3 documents, all 4 documents, whatever, after you've paid that $10. So it's something that I really recommend just going through Patreon. It bills on the first of every month, so if it's not something you want to stay a part of, if you just want to get the guides and move on, please feel free. I don't want you guys to feel like you have to do that. These guides are a ton of work. The amount of hours that I put into these, I can't even begin to calculate. I'm really meticulous and try to make sure that I explain everything as well as I can. So anyway, if you guys are interested in that, please keep an eye out for that. I'm hoping to have this done before the end of the month. My goal is within the next 48 hours having this launched and released. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there to you guys. If you guys are interested, again, you can donate via PayPal. Just make sure that you use the email address that should be showing on the screen now and specify which guide you're wanting, okay? Because again, there are multiple now. We have a A320 guide, a G1000 guide, now the TBM 930 guide, which doubles as a G3000 guide, okay? All right, so anyway, that's it for channel news at the moment. Let's go ahead and move on. Next on our list that I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of is the Aerosoft CRJ for MSF series, or video tutorial series, has begun. Flyer0245, the YouTuber, make sure you guys check out his channel, give him a like and a subscribe. He's starting to do tutorial series for the CRJ. The CRJ is right around the corner, so super excited about that. You can see that will release for 42 euros. Is that euros or pounds? That might be pounds. I don't know. I don't know my monetarial symbols. I'm terrible. I know I should probably go hide under bed or something. Anyway, the CRJ is actually a really fun plane to fly. It's I flew it back in X-Plane. It's a little puddle jumper, you know, for like the Tucson to Phoenix flights, you know, your little short hops. It can make some of the longer runs, but I most commonly see it in some of the smaller trips. But anyway, make sure that you guys check that out. Stay tuned for more. There's going to be a ton more information on it. Again, Flyer0245. Check out his YouTube channel. Start getting yourself prepped for the CRJ. I want to make sure that you guys are aware that this had begun. I'm going to be following it very, very closely as well. All right? Really excited for this to come out. Next on our list is a very cool app that I stumbled on couple weeks ago, I think, actually, and I finally got around to messing around with it earlier this morning, and I was blown away and kicking myself that I didn't have this a long time ago, because this is really slick. It is called the Mobile Companion app, MSFS Mobile Companion app. Link down in the description below, as always. This thing is really cool. So at first I thought it was just for cell phones. It's an app that you download, blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's an app that runs locally on your computer, and then you just use a web browser to access it. Okay, so it says mobile companion app, and so you would think mobile phone. This is anything with inside. So here's the tips to this right away of how you got to make this work. You have to have a home network, and if you have a router in your house, you have a computer hooked up, you have an Xbox hooked up, blah, 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 TV, all those things hooked up to your internet, you have a home network. Okay, so if you have a router, you have Wi-Fi in your house, okay, or it doesn't even have to be Wi-Fi. You guys get the gist, okay? Anything with a web browser can launch this tool, okay? So a Kindle, the Kindle Fire, an iPad, your cell phone, whatever it may be. Anything can run this particular app once it's launched. Okay, the only thing that you need to do as far as configuring it, let me pull that up here. I think I still have it just running from here right now, is you can come here to the settings document, open it with Notepad or Notepad++, and enter in your username that you're logged in with exactly as it is configured in the computer. So easy way to determine that, go to C, this is for everybody, does not matter, go to C, users, and this is, for example, this is me right here. Okay, the OverKill. Okay, type that in there, hit your save button, close it, launch Microsoft Flight Simulator. And then, did I just close that? Yes, I did. Launch Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then launch this executable. And you can put this folder, this is all you can do, is put this folder wherever you want. Okay, you can put it anywhere you want. Open it up, launch this executable, and it comes with a really nice guide. Here's the guide that walks you through step by step how to configure everything. Okay. And then, once you have launched Microsoft Flight Simulator, then you launch that executable. What you're going to do from whatever mobile device you want, laptop, again, phone, Kindle, doesn't matter, is you're going to look for this IP address right here. Okay, and as he states right here, it should look something like 192.168, whatever. And before anyone freaks out, no, I don't care that you guys are seeing my local IP address. That doesn't mean anything. It's not public facing. Okay, and good luck getting through the firewall. No, not a challenge, I'm just saying. Anyway, so you're going to type this IP address into your browser, as you can see that I've done here. Okay, make sure you include the colon with the 4000. That is the port that it is using, and you get this app. And again, the document is done very, very well. Don't close this because I'll close the app. This document is done very, very well. Walks you through everything that you need to do. And then it even talks to you about on Android versus iOS on how to add it to your home screen if you want. And basically what that allows you to do is once you launch the app, it's a one-click button on your cell phone to activate, to bring it up, right? Now I'm using my Android, but I brought it up on the desktop so that way I could share it with you guys on what it does. So now let's walk through that, okay? But again, very good job on the document. I love seeing good documentation. So now I'm going to bring this off for just a second. Well, actually, let's walk through it. So first you have your nav, all right? And the navigation brings you to the map here that we can see here. And then if you pull up the nav, sorry, the map brings you up here. If you pull up the nav, it brings up your nav radios, and you just tune them like you normally would, and then you can switch them to the transfer button here, or you can go direct input. Okay, change these, and this is really nice. So if you know your nav radio, if you know, I don't know, 115.2 1.75. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out here. You could throw that in there, and it adds it into the nav radio. Let's come down here. Nav, audio radios. There it is, 115.75. If you need to set the course for that particular nav station, let's say we need to be on 180. Set. Oh, it's because I'm on VOR2. We'll get there in a second. Keep that 180 in your heads for a minute. Same thing with the comm radios. Obviously, you can either do direct input where you can actually type it in. And the cool thing is on your mobile app, it's the same thing. So you can just type in the digits versus having to try to tune the knobs. This is really cool. Your transponder frequency, same thing. You know, you get a transponder 3, 2, 5, 6, whatever set. Okay, then I can come over here and let's see here. Where are you? Did I have it up there? I thought I had it saved up there. Maybe not. Let's go back to our comm radios. Helps when you click the right button. There's that transponder code we just entered. Okay, really, this is really awesome. Now let's go to the autopilot panel. Yeah. Moving on up. Let me back it out. This is like, I'm super stoked about this. Like, this is a very neat app. Let's see, nav mode. We want to go into nav mode. Boom, there's nav mode. We want to turn heading mode off. Heading mode's off. We want to set our altitude up down to 15,000. We can hit set. Okay. Pull that down. There's our altitude. Let's see here. Vertical speed. All these obviously work the same. Flight level control. Your GPS sources. Remember I told you to remember that 180, right? So if I come over here and hit nav 1, there's that 180 course line that we typed in earlier. Okay, for the nav radio right there for the offset course. Your panel, you have your beacon lights, landing lights, taxi lights, nav lights, strobe lights. I mean, dude, this is so awesome. Your pitot heat, your general ice, your structural de-ice. This is really slick. You can toggle all your lights or toggle them all off. Going to the other panel, you can adjust the sim rate. You can change between a portrait display, which is where we get the map, and then now you just get the radios. Or we can go back into landscape like we were. Force the sync frequencies. So for whatever reason the frequencies here aren't matching up to what's in the sim, you can type that and it should automatically update. You can change between your DME settings. Sorry. Change between VOR1, VOR2, DME for nav1, nav2. That doesn't need to be working, but then again, we're already there, so I'm not sure if we're also not airborne. I'm sure that has something to do with it. Again, you can swap to direct input and type everything in manually, which I'm a fast typer, so I'm absolutely going to be using this like crazy. Really slick. And then make sure, because I'm going to be jumping all over this, make sure you guys tap that donate button if you're able to. Okay, obviously I'm not trying to pressure anyone. Just if able and you guys feel the same way I do after using this, you know, support these guys. Oh, flight plan. If you enter a flight plan into your FMC, right now I don't have one entered, but you could hit load the flight plan. It would display on the web browser here. This is awesome. This is really slick and it's fast. Obviously the integration, as you guys just saw, it responds very quickly. So yeah, fantastic job on this application. This is really cool, and I could see a lot of really awesome uses for this. We were just talking to people, or I was just commenting to people the other day, people who are still struggling either A, with buttons and controls. You know, I don't have enough buttons. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to bump the mic. Don't have enough buttons, or trying to deal with the mapping of it all and fighting with it. You have a web browser here. I mean, there are so many things to this. Like coming into the autopilot is going to be the big one. One of the biggest things. I mean, what do we all do, right? Let's see here. You guys doing this, right? You're adjusting your course, and what happens? That, right? Or you're trying to change your heading, and the plane bounces, and you do that. No more of that nonsense with this thing, man. Especially if you have your phone up, or you could even have this up, and you know, if you just get frustrated, like enough is enough. You know, TBM, 19er Foxtrot, set your heading to 153. Boom! Heading was just made to 153 degrees. As we can see right there, there's the heading bug. So, I mean, this is slick, guys. This is really nice. So, yeah. I wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys. I'm really kicking myself for not using this sooner. I can see plenty of applications for it, even in VR, when you think about it, especially when you're dealing with a lot of these VR applications that are starting to introduce, desktop displays. Many VR headsets you can still see under the nose. So if you have like your cell phone underneath your nose or something like that, boom, boom, a quick tap and a type. That's all you gotta do. On your cell phone, I did test this out on my phone. If you click on one of these boxes, it brings up the number pad. So you're talking just your thumb, click, 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 boom. Next you know, you're changing on your way. So it really alleviates a lot of the frustration of trying to deal with the knobs and whatnot with inside the sim. If you're one of those people who really gets fed up with that stuff like I do, it really does drive me nuts. If you guys are watching any of my videos, you'll find out. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Link down in the description below, and let's move on. Alright, so the last thing I want to show you guys how to do real quick is installing a mod again and the Cockpit livery. This is a question that still comes up in every single one of my videos when we talk about the mods. People are still stressing, my mod's not working, etc. So I recommend using add-ons linker. It's simple, it's easy to use, but if you choose not to, that's totally up to you. But I totally recommend it. Link will be down in the description below for it. And so what I do is I have a mods directory that add-ons linker is looking at. Okay, so you can see that they all correspond. Everything you see down here is corresponding to what you see here. Okay, and then I use this to essentially turn the mods on and off. Red for off, green for on, right? Now, one of the biggest things that I see going on here is either or either file structure or order of load. Okay, so we're going to talk about the TBM 930 specifically because I'm doing an update with it. We're going to talk about the G3000, which is used in the TBM 930, and then the TBM 930 cockpit mod, or the cockpit livery that everyone talks about. Everyone likes that beige cockpit livery I have going right now. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to load these and in what order. This comes up on and just constantly this question keeps coming up, and that's totally fine. I'm worried that I'm not explaining things well enough, so I hope this works. So in my mods directory, I've just created a folder called TBM 930. I open it up, there's nothing in it right now. I downloaded the aircraft TBM 930 improvement mod, which again, link down in the description below. Okay, I'm going to now extract it. Okay, so here's that folder no longer zipped. I'm going to open it up. There's another folder here. I'm going to open that up. This is the mod. Okay, so I want to copy all of this. In my case, I'm going to use Control X to cut it. And that's Control X-ray, and then Control Victor to paste it over here. Okay, so I have my mods. This is, again, where add-ons linker is looking. Okay, here's the title. Think of these first folders. All these first folders is a title. What is the mod? Okay, that's a TBM 930 mod. I open it up, here's the mod. And it should, almost all of them should have these layout, manifest, sim objects, things like that. I mean, even, and we'll get down to that in a second, the G3000. So here is the ZA G3000. Now it's just a working title. I put the Z because I have it load after the aircraft does. However, I have never read that that is required. It's just the way my brain processes it. I load the plane, then what's in the plane, and then the skin. How does the plane look? So the G3000, if we open it up, again, here is the mod itself. The first folder is just the title. And then here is the cockpit livery. This one is crucial, okay? You must load the cockpit livery last, okay? And again, sim objects, and here's the mod itself. If you load the cockpit livery after or before your performance mod or before any other modification, before the G3000, if you load a cockpit livery anything other than at the very end, it may not work, even if you don't have any other mods for that aircraft installed. If I did not use the G3000, if I did not use the TBM 930, and loading anything else before it, it could still cause issues. Okay, it's just, trust me, that's why all these Z's are in front of it. This was a different cockpit livery that I had for the TBM 930, a carbon fiber look to it. I put the Z here. Okay, you want to make sure that it loads at the very end. They do load in alphabetical order, essentially. Okay, so you want to make sure that if you are trying to use a cockpit livery and you're having problems, make sure that it is loading at the end. The same token, another question that came up was, hey, I installed the TBM performance mod, but I can't open the doors and things like that. My concern would be one of two things. Either A, when you go into your community folder, so here, I'll turn them, quote unquote, turn them on. and I'll show you guys what you would see. So if I go to TBM 930, and then I'm going to load the Cockpit livery. And the other one I want to replace real quick, so give me just a minute, is the DA62. I haven't done that in a long time, so give me just a minute. This guy's another one that does fantastic work. But again, if you look here, you have the DA62, and then you have the DA62X. This is the mod. Okay, I don't want to copy this folder into my community folder. If I copy this folder to the community folder, it won't work. It's not going to do anything. It has to be this one here. So again, let's go DA62X, and all I'm going to do here, I'm just going to delete that, and then I'm going to just open the contents up here, paste it on over, boom. I'm going to close it, and then now turn it on. And so now if I go into my packages folder and go to my community folder, and I scroll down to the bottom, here's my DA62X. Okay, again, this is what you should see when you install your mods. Packages, community, the name of the mod, and this is the mod itself. Okay, same thing if we go find my TBM 930. Here's the TBM 930. Grab that. Boom. There shouldn't be anything else here. Okay. If there's another folder that says TBM 930 mod, it's not structured correctly. And then if I scroll down even further, okay, here's the TBM 930 Cockpit livery. And you can only have one Cockpit livery on at a time. Okay, whichever one loads, even if you load multiple, whichever one loads last, that's the one that you're going to actually see. Okay, and then so what you're doing by adding multiple liveries for one aircraft at the same time is you're just generating extra loading that isn't necessary. Okay, anyway, so I hope that sums that up for you guys. I hope you guys appreciate this video. Remember, the documents coming out, TBM 930 guide on the way. Keep the questions coming, guys. I have no problem answering this. I'll go over this again and again until, you know, I feel like I've helped everybody out. So that's why I do this, and you guys are my motivation. So like, subscribe, all that good jazz, and have a great week, guys. I'll talk to you soon.